Good afternoon, Two Gents Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Spikes. As I get live in this thing, I just want to say, as I get live. Good afternoon, Two Gents Podcast once again. As I get live, I just want to say thank you. Trying to get all these medias lined up and the different stuff that we have going on in the background. Instagram, I'm sorry you gave me a problem. My blog talk, Twitter gave me a problem. So I'm not going to even worry about it. We're going to go ahead and go live on where we're at, and we're going to continue going. And the stream is live now. I woke up this morning, and I had a different show in mind for everybody. But as I got on YouTube, I began to discover something that was out there. And I needed to get on the airways and kind of discuss it. Not saying that I'm an expert. By any means am I an expert, but I feel like if it's important to me, it's important to one, as me and Byron Glass always say, which is my other part of Two Gents and Pastor A.F. Riggins. We make a Two Gents podcast. If it's important to me, it's probably important to somebody that's out there. So we just continue to move forward and do our thing and just put it out there. Let you be your own judge. If you look at the picture that I have up on the screen, it says, when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. Dr. Thomas Sowell. There's some truth to that statement. Based on what we're hearing in the news today, based on what we're hearing from people that's out there already, there's a lot of truth to that statement, because if you think about it, our democracy is actually in truth decay. It's in tooth decay. And I mean tooth decay, however you want to put it. Decay is decay. If you ever had a toothache, you know that it's painful. It's almost as painful as telling the truth sometimes, but we still have to tell it. And as I said in previous videos, we can't just go with a sugar-coated lie. And don't get me wrong. And please don't do me like you did last time. You told me that, you must be a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. I just want to be told the truth. I'm an adult. I think I can handle the truth. I don't like being manipulated by anybody. I think if you just tell people the truth, they can make up their mind and they can decide what they want to do. The problem with what's going on in the world today is that other people want to make up your mind for you. They want to tell you what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, and all the rest of that. And then when you go contrary, or you go a different way than what they're saying, the first thing they want to say is, you're not with the party. I don't have to be with a party to know what's right and what's wrong. I don't have to be with a party to know that somebody's telling the truth and somebody's telling a lie. And I think over the next couple of days, all the way up into midterm elections, the Democrats are going to have this problem, because what they want to do is kick that rock down the road. They want to kick that can down the road. They want to kick whatever's in front of them down the road and not face the truth. Every time one of them's asked a hard question, well, we don't want to go back to the past. I guess that's a talking narrative that they got out there. But you're gonna have to rip that Band-Aid off at some point in time. You're gonna have to tell the American public, the one that you want to vote for you, the one that you need to vote for you to take back the House so we can get away from this insanity. This insanity ain't going away if you keep doing what you're doing. And I don't know how to tell you any different. It's not going away. You can keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to have the same problem during the next election. You haven't gave us a person to look forward to. You haven't given us anything that we can hang our hats on and say, you know what, I think that's a good idea. We got a couple of people coming out and saying that they want to be a part of the party, but I think that nobody wants to be tagged with this thing that y'all deceived America with. Because if you go back and you look at your research and you listen to people talk that was within the cabinet, one step away, this thing started way back in 2001, where y'all was hiding what was going on with him behind the scenes. And before I get too far in this, I didn't got too far because I need to say this. This is one of the things that need to be said, and everybody needs to hear this. That's talking about this situation that's going on and is starting to make public records right now. We did a show about 3 or 4 weeks ago about the same thing, and nobody wanted to hear it. Everybody was against it. But this is what I need you to understand. Now they're saying that Biden got cancer. They're saying that he has a serious case of cancer. I feel sorry for him. I don't wish that on nobody. But isn't that the same doctors that said that he was isn't that the same doctors that said that he was able to make decisions? He was able to run this country. He was in sound mind. They gave him tests and he passed every last one of them. I don't know if he got cancer because if I'm going by any of the doctors that he had before, if I'm going by any of the doctors that he had before, I can't go with that. He needs to get new doctors. He needs to get new doctors because evidently they weren't doing their job either. But the other part of what's going on right now is this is what we should be asking ourselves. If he was almost in that condition back in 2001, based on the books, now I gave you a list of the books that you can watch 3 different books, different people that worked around the White House in different positions. I'm going to bring up a couple of videos to bring receipts to what I'm saying right now. But what I need you to truly understand, if he was in this condition, who signed those pardons? He was at a point where he couldn't even make complete sentences. You're gonna see as we go through this video that he was in bad shape, but people kept covering up for him. I saw this out there today. It's a book called Truth Decay. And it's always truth. That's the reason why when I came on, I was talking about tooth decay and truth decay. This is about the same thing. And if you look at this picture, our flag is disappearing. Everything that our forefathers and everybody fought for is disappearing. It's disappearing right before our eyes. And it's going to continue to take that downward path until somebody goes out and rip off their Band-Aid and say, you know what? We're sorry. The truth gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But at least you get it out of the way, and hopefully by the time midterms come around and the next election cycle come around, you did it already. But if you keep kicking that can down the road, you keep kicking it, it's just gonna keep traveling. And this stuff about I'm not doing the past, that was in the past, I'm not talking about it. You can't do that. American public think they're not hearing that. You got a new voter out there that you couldn't even get a hold of, that you couldn't even make contact with. And if you tell him the same stories, if you tell them the same stories that you're telling me right now, the past is still the past. I'm gonna break it down to you so most of my audience are understanding this. I want you to go out there and do. If you ever been in a relationship with somebody and you did something wrong, does that stay in the past, or is it gonna keep coming up until you get rid of it? Same thing with politics. If you don't bring it up and whip the Band-Aid off and say, "Hey, I didn't know," and D's saying something in the background. I got my comments up so I can make sure I hear this. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. You're right. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, because you're going to soon find out that lying to the American public didn't just start right now. It did. We heard it the first time. We didn't pay attention to it. But the Democrats got complicit in their lying. And that's the thing that I don't like about it. They got complicit in their lying. That's my telephone going off in the background. And, in these days and times, you got to have a ring alarm on your house or something to tell you before somebody come in, because don't let them surprise you. You surprise them. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. But it's sad. It's sad. But D says again, I will now vote for whoever's the best candidate, period. That's the way we always should have been voting. We should have always voted for the best candidate, period. Not based on Democrats. In a way, I'm glad that they took that handicap away from us. That handicap where we just went down there and we was either a Republican or a Democrat. They thought, I think when they first did, they thought they was doing themselves a favor. Well, I think they did us a favor because it exposed some of the lies that's out there. And I don't want to take too much of your time. And I know even when I talk about this in my own words and I put it out there, everybody don't accept it. And most people ain't going to do their research. Most people ain't never even seen this video, period, that I'm about to bring up right now. I just need you to pay attention. Anything to do about what was going on today. It didn't have anything to do about what was going on today, but you got to understand your past to get to the future, to where you're at. And that's the thing that's the reason why I went back and I found that piece. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that it's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Republicans. They're all inclusive of trying to deceive their voters. And it's been like that for a while. But this thing that's going on right now that everybody's looking at, that everybody's paying attention with about Biden, this is a group of people within the White House that kept him from the American public. And it was a group of people that tried to implement whatever they wanted on the American public. And it wasn't, you can't force nobody down nobody's throat and expect it to work out. You can't do that. At some point, you got to open up your minds. And I hope over the next couple of days, as they dig deeper and deeper into this and they start calling names about who knew, because everybody is coming out of the woodworks and saying, I didn't see that. I didn't know it was coming. That's like the doctor saying, I didn't know you had cancer. Cancer didn't start yesterday. Cancer didn't come when they reported it on the news. Cancer was there when he was in office. How long had he had cancer? People get complicit in the lie and they can't stop it. I want to ask his wife. I really do. That's the questions that we should be asking his wife. But she don't answer questions like that. She'll go in the View, and when he can't answer a question, which wasn't about 2 or 3 sentences in, she started answering his questions. Somebody was running the White House during that time. People don't know what to believe, and they're arguing with one another over nothing. Yeah, you're right. The country is confused because they put us here. They didn't give us the opportunity to make a decision. They kept force feeding us throughout the years. This is not the first time they did that. And we sit there and we look up to people, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm one of them. I was a big Obama person. But what I'm about to show you next, tie this into how this country is right now. Tie this back into how this country is.
So you just said you spoke to a lot of people who were there for that. What else did they tell you about it?
Well, Obama's side of that story is he wasn't sure what was going on, but he just wanted to get out of there. And he wasn't going to get out of there without Biden. So he grabbed him, and it was more just his impatience than anything else. But other people who were there, and we should note that the Biden White House falsely, when people showed that clip and asked what was going on, said it was a cheap fake. They did this all the time when there was video that seemed to show Biden acting in an odd or unusual, seemingly out of it way. They would call it a cheap fake. It was not fake. It was actual video. And people in the arena who did not see the horrifying scene behind the stage, but in the arena, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, John Favreau, former Obama chief speechwriter, and others, just from that event and Biden walking towards the edge of the stage, thought, oh my God, something is wrong here. He's not going to make it.
See, when I first did this, everybody said, you this and you that. But when you hear it from somebody else, when you see it from somebody else, when you go back to that first video, the first podcast I put out about this, Nobody wanted to get on board. And I'm sorry your feelings hurt because you got deceived, but they've been telling this a lie for a long time. Them, Republicans, Democrats, politicians, they tell this lie. And here, I'm gonna break this down so y'all can really understand what's going on here. Because you really need to know what's going on behind the scenes in order to pick up and understand the reason why I'm having this podcast and the reason why I'm so serious about what we got to do to change the narrative instead of talking to one another saying, "Oh, it's okay, we gonna be all right." That wasn't true. Well, here's the truth. If they was able to pull that off for 2 years or 3 years until he got elected, till he called himself going to run for office again, who was telling him he was going to run for office again? The people that was on the train riding with him, they wasn't ready to go. Well, he was gone. That train was in the next station. But they wanted to ride because they had deceived the American public up until that point, and they just wanted to continue with it. They were running the country. They had to control. Anybody that was around them knew that they had to point directions. When I was telling you about them putting tape on the stage, showing them where you had to go. When there's a video out there showing other foreign leaders, guiding them, help guiding them around. But y'all didn't see that. No. It hurts my feelings. No, I didn't see that. That's not out there. That's not true. But now everybody's talking about it. Go to your national media. Go anywhere that you want to go, and they're talking about it. But no, when I brought it up, nobody wanted it. Oh no, you just don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. Read. I'm showing you videos to make it easier for you. Read. Go out and do your own research. Read. I'm going to say it again. Read. Go out and do your own research and read. You'll find out that everybody's not telling you the truth. And the person that had me, and this is going to really hurt some people and they don't want to hear it, well, I'm going to have to say it anyway. Kamala knew it. Kamala knew it. She was his number 2 person. She wasn't out of the country all that time. She knew she was complicit in the lies that was being told. There's a couple other people that was complicit in the lies that's being told. Everybody that's coming out now knew it. They knew it ahead of time. Nancy Pelosi knew it. She was trying to give y'all a heads up. She was trying to stop this train from going down the tracks. But nobody wanted to hear, oh, no, you just don't like this. You don't like that. They was trying to tell you that Kamala wasn't going to win the election then. I'm gonna let that sink in because, so y'all, sorority sisters and sorority brothers and all the rest of it, y'all got to let stuff sink in. Not that she wasn't the best qualified, not that she was a lemon. It's politics. They tell their own story. And the story that they've learned to tell wasn't about her winning this election. She didn't have it. Own it. She was the best qualified candidate, but on paper. But during the first 2 or 3 days when this first happened, they wasn't trying to hear that. The Obamas wasn't trying to hear that. Nancy Pelosi wasn't trying to hear that. They was trying to give the American public a chance to vote for the next candidate, and hopefully he would or she would have been strong enough to beat Biden, to beat Trump. And I'm sorry, I'm having one of them Biden moments, and that's what I'm gonna start calling them, the Biden moment. They needed somebody that could beat Biden, and they didn't have it in her. And you see the results of the election. It wasn't because she was a female. Everybody want to use that excuse. They're not ready for a female. Okay. So if the Democrats ran another female out there, they're not ready for her? No. You pull it. She was handicapped by time. That's one thing I give her. She did an amazing job in such a short period of time. But it took too many people getting on board, and the people that should have got on board initially didn't get on board. The only person, if you read it, the only people that got on board right away was one of the first two people that she called to get their blessings, and it was Hillary and Bill Clinton gave her their blessings right away. The rest of them, they didn't jump on board. They held back. They thought it was a better candidate out there. I don't care what they tell you. The people that was running telling their story, you will eventually find out. Don't take my word for it. You will eventually see it come out. Their own people, and here's the thing. And I'm gonna tell you how this works. See, when Biden went out there and put her on the spot, or he put her on the spot. You know, I got my own theories behind. I want to clarify this because I got my own theories, my theories. Nobody else. I can't even bring up a video proving. But I'm gonna tell you something. At my age group, I've been around a long time. Now, I just need you to hear me. Go with me down this road for a little bit, and I'm gonna say this is my own thoughts. I haven't read it in the book. I haven't seen it, but these are my own thoughts about this situation with her getting the nomination. If you've been covering for a person all of this time, and you was a staunch supporter, even when they was asking you questions, you was lying in the national media, telling them that everything was all right. Oh no, he just had an off night. The debate was just one of his days or something like that. If you've been telling them that all that time, and we've been following and loyal to him, you ain't never stepped out of line, anything else, even if he was gonna give somebody else a chance to run, he owed you. This little group that was trying to hide him from everybody else, they owed her that. Because if they didn't, can you imagine who would have a book out right now, #1 seller? In the book, they said Herb Donna Brazil. I can't think of the lady. I wish I could think of her name. They were planning on this. They was planning on this. And they was getting prepared before this even happened. So they knew. I don't care what they tell you out there in national media. Go read it for yourself. They knew way ahead of time, and that's the scary part. D, I'm still trying to stay with you, but I'm trying to get my thoughts out. Do you think people just don't want to see this, and it's right in front of them? D, I don't think they believe in something, but they don't want to believe in it. They rather just hear a sugar-coated lie. They rather somebody come out and lie to them till somebody tell them the truth. And when somebody else is telling them the truth, they may listen, because they have a way, a way with words. I may not have the way with words, but when you're telling the truth, it stays on its own. A lie will always come back to haunt you. And this lie is coming back to haunt everybody out there. Everybody that was out there is coming back to haunt them. And that's the reason why I played the first video, so you could understand that they do lie. They do lie. And you know who else was a staunch supporter of Kamala Harris? You know who was a staunch supporter of Kamala Harris? Jerry Reed. And you hear she at right now? She's sitting on the sidelines with us. She's sitting on the sideline with us. She supported Trump. She supported Kamala Harris being in his office. She went out of her way to really make a point of it. But everybody else over there at MSNBC that was doing almost the same thing, that was talking against Trump. But you know what they didn't do? Now, I'm going to say it. Won't nobody else say it. It wasn't her skin color. It's still on the air. They talking about this right now. She's sitting there hiding. What does that tell you? it's always been news out there. We have to cover it in a way where we're not putting our jobs and everything on the line. And he's just like a sorority brothers and sisters. And I ain't gonna say why I know, but I'll tell you this. It's somewhere within the bylaws of that sorority where it says I will not lie. I will not lie. If you don't believe me, ask somebody. If they tell you the truth. I will not lie. I will represent my sorority brothers and sisters. I will represent my sorority sisters to the utmost. And part of that is lying. I will not tell a lie. I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling you the truth because you need to know that you have been deceived from the top to the bottom. It's just a bunch of chosen lies, and who's telling you the lies? The only thing that's out there, because it's a bunch of lies. It was a bunch of lies, and I'm gonna add this back because I need you to see this. When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. We wasn't told the truth. When you want to help yourself, and a lot of people want to help themselves stay in power. That little group that isolated them from everybody else, but couldn't nobody see them. You tell them what you want to hear. There's some truth to that. I'm gonna bring something up because you know me, I get carried away. I'm gonna bring something else. Let me remove this other one so I can really get this start going in.
Action to what we are experiencing this week with the Democrats.
I got to tell you, I am somewhat surprised that Ro Khanna came on that little clip because that's the one serious Democrat who's had it right. We should admit that we screwed up and that we participated in a cover-up, and we should tell people we participated in a cover-up. I think there are some smart Democrats, people like Chris Coons, Amy Klobuchar, Jared Polis. I think you can look at Josh Shapiro. You can go for public intellectuals like Van Jones. There are some smart Democrats. They should get in a room. They ought to come out together and do a mea culpa. The 25th Amendment failed. We failed you in telling you how incapacitated the president was, and we are sorry. And now we're going to move forward by doing a couple of important things. And I think, Brian, the most important thing.
I just want you to hear that part because that's important. Where he goes next is personal with him. So I'm going to show you that. Everybody understands what needs to happen. Doesn't matter. And this is a Fox News clip, and they invited this guy on, but they're saying the same thing. You got to pull that Band-Aid off. It's gonna hurt, but make it hurt now. Not when they can throw it back up in your face and address it. Make it hurt now, and see. I'm just playing it. You within the next couple of days, you're gonna see it for yourself. And when you see it, I don't want you sitting there saying, "Ooh, I can't believe that. That's not just coming from you." Aspiring Glass said, "We can get one of y'all, just one. We done did our job. We ain't hooping it. We ain't hooping and jumping up and down, screaming. We're passionate. We are passionate, but we not hooping and jumping up and down, screaming. And I'm telling you, sometimes you can't kill a messenger. Don't kill a messenger. Because it's some truth. People are telling lies out there, and we got to accept that. We got to accept that. But we don't have to do anything about it. An untruth is still an untruth. A hoax lie is still a lie. A half lie is still a lie. An almost truth is still a lie. Because you're not telling the whole truth. A bit of a lie, that's still a lie. Call it a lie. I can't use it. A modified truth is still a lie. A little just bit true is a lie. A half lie is still a lie. Nonsense is still a lie. Twisted truth is still a lie. A complete lie is just a lie. And they lied and deceived the American people out there. So it's still a lie. I don't care how you concoct it, how you put it together, and whatever stories that you tell behind there. If you knew that this guy, the president of our country, the man that was sitting in the Oval Office that carried that box that's so important to nuclear weapons and everything else, you complicit. You know he was like that. You knew he was like that. And I know everybody don't want to hear it. Some people are saying, well, you know, it's probably this and it's probably that. They was trying to, you don't save the country by telling them a lie. You don't say nothing that's important to you by telling a lie. Because if it was that important to you, you would tell them the truth and deal with the consequences of your actions as it goes. Because if that's the case, if what's going on right now, we wouldn't be here. Let me tell you the reason why. Because if Biden was as bad off as he said he was, and his internal members wasn't covering up for it, and they came out and they say something about it, you know who was next in line for the president? And it might have been only for 2 or 3 months. But do you think she would have had a better chance if they would have came out and told the truth and we sit down? Because she had an opportunity to at least take over. No, they lied. They lied. Don't just hold Biden accountable for everything that's going on, because evidently we see that he's not there. It's the people that was behind him. It's on a day-to-day basis. Those people will even let other people see him. Because they didn't know how he was reacting. They didn't know which way he was going. They wouldn't even let people come in to see him. Even when they was trying to coach him up for debate, they used to lie that he had COVID. This was going on. This is a part of the American truth. And this is going to be the saddest part, because so many people that we looked up to was a part of it. We don't care about them coming out saying, you know, we down this slippery slope. We looking at this thing. No, you didn't vote. You didn't vote. That's where you be looking at the slippery slope too. You can point the finger at yourself too, because we're all a part of the blame, because we accepted it. We accepted it. I'm just, in a way, I'm disappointed. In a way, I know it's nothing that we can do about it now. But you got 4 years. You got 4 years of stuff that you're gonna have to deal with. We got 4 years of stuff that we're gonna have to deal with. It ain't gonna never change. It ain't gonna never change. But if we would just did one thing that was different than what we were doing, than what was going on, if we would just tell the truth. If somebody would just tell the truth and act and follow the laws that they say that they believe in, follow the Constitution, if he wasn't able to continue in office, if he was going downhill at that time, we should have put Kamala Harris in place. And that's the thing that I'm not going to let you get away with. That's my front yard. That's the thing that I'm not going to let you get away with. Nobody, everybody's complicit in that. If you knew it, you should have said something. So you sit there and when people was asking, how is he? What is he like? Has he changed in any shape, form, or fashion? No, he hasn't changed. You know, he's still the same. He's still the same Joe Biden that I knew. They lied. They were lying through their teeth. And you know me? I'm one of these guys that I don't have all your answers for you. But here's another lie for you to get on board with. And I need you to listen to it and look who it's coming from. Everybody's complicit in this.
Investigating Biden's mishandling of classified documents. In that audio tape, you hear President Biden rambling, unable to keep a train of thought, getting dates wrong. Let's run a little clip of that.
Trump gets elected in November 2017, 2016. All right. So,
that's when you left office, January.
okay. But that's Trump gets sworn in then.
Right.
Right, correct.
At a different time in that interview, he's asked about the 2017-2018 period, and he says during that period, his son Beau was either deployed or dying, but Beau was deployed in 2008, 2009, and he died tragically in May 2015. Needless to say, even supporters of the president have heard these tapes and been alarmed by it. What was your response to them? Did you see much of that when you had?
Before you respond, I want you to listen to this, what I'm about to say, because this is key to what I'm about to say. Doing the writing of those books, when I read them, they called James Claiborne. Kamler called him first. He knew that he had a telephone call from Obama waiting for him, where Kamler called him. So what he did, politics, I'm going to tell you about politics so you can, if you don't believe me, go back and look at it, find out for yourself, because it's going to come out. What he did was, he went to the media and put it out there that he was voting for, that he was supporting Kamler. He knew Obama was calling him, trying to get him on board for this little thing that they wanted to do behind the scenes. So what he did to get out in front of playing politics, he went out there and had his people go to the national media and put out that he was supporting Kamala Harris. Y'all let me understand this. See, we're little peons in this. I want you to listen to what he's about to say, because he's another one that's coming out denying the fact that he knew, denying the fact that they didn't plan none of this, denying the fact that he's almost the same age as Biden, and his father and all the rest. I sympathize with his father, but it don't have nothing to do with you trying to get out in front of this and not answer the questions. You're gonna have to answer them eventually. So y'all might as well pull that Band-Aid off and get with the program.
Meetings and interactions with President Biden during his term?
No, I didn't. The fact of the matter is, I saw Biden often, but not as often as people seem to think. I talked to him on the telephone very often, and I never saw anything that I thought was outside of the ordinary. I watched my dad reach the age of 80, and I saw him slow down. He couldn't do the same things he did at 50 or 60, but it didn't bother his mental capacity at all. And then my father died from prostate cancer. So I never saw anything I thought was unusual. Did he talk as swiftly as he used to talk? No, he didn't. Did he walk as swiftly? No, he didn't. But that is to be expected. Those of us who reach that age, as I have, we don't walk as often as fast as we used to, and I may talk as fast as I used to, but we down here in the South don't talk all that fast anyway. Well,
Before you jump in, that's politician talk. That's politician talk. I knew my father here at all times, but then he cleaned it up and said he didn't die of that. He did. In other words, what he died of didn't have anything to do with the Alzheimer's. He ended up dying of something else, or he tried to clean it up. And you need to understand what politicians do when they get in a barn, they try to clean you up. And that's the thing that you shouldn't like about politicians. That's the thing that you shouldn't like, because they lie to you in your face and they lie to national media. I think this guy kind of jumps in there right there at that point.
All due respect, sir, having interviewed you quite often, I don't think there's any comparison between how sharp you are and your ability to talk and answer questions and get dates right, et cetera, and what we've seen from President Biden, both in that audio, but also throughout 2023, 2024, especially on the debate stage. Do you think that Joe Biden really would have been able to perform as president all the way through January 2029 when he would be 86?
yes, I thought that back then. I still think that, but I don't know that. When people ask me, did I know this or did I know the other? And the fact of the matter is, no, I didn't. And you make my point here. So it's not all about age. I've seen people develop Alzheimer's when they're in their 30s and 40s. So it's not about age. It's about the ability to do the job. And I never saw anything that allowed me to think that Joe Biden was not able to do the job. Just that simple.
Now, I want you to read in between the lines of what he just got through saying. I need you to do it for yourself. It ain't like you wake up one day and we have Alzheimer's. That decline comes over a period of time. And as closely watched as Joe Biden should have been as president, we should have knew this. We should have knew this. Somebody somewhere, and the title is saying somebody somewhere got to fess up to this load of crap that they're trying to sell us. Somebody got to fess up to the load of crap that they're trying to sell us, because it is a load of crap. And he's selling you a bunch of political crap. He knew exactly what was going on. He was in contact with him, and here, a lot of people say, you don't want to get too far into it, but I'm gonna get into it this time because I need people to understand what they're about to hear in the next couple of days. When Kamala was running for office, Kamala went back. She realized that the way she got Obama and him on board, she had to go get Obama's people that was in his group, in his encampment when he was running. Don't take my word for it. Go out there and read it for yourself. Go out there and research it for yourself. The people that helped Obama get the election, she brought them on board after the telephone call that she had made. Obama and Nancy Pelosi wasn't going on that path. They had another path that they wanted to go down. So the next call that she made when she found out that she reached the obstacle, she had to go call Obama's people, which he had a relationship with. He had a relationship with. So I want to go back here because all of this is relative to what I'm telling you right now. Those people knew. They had to know. They wouldn't have came on board if Kamala Harris wouldn't have told them the truth. It was about saving the country and telling lies all at the same time and just run. Right. And if I'm going to have to go back a little bit because I think I got ahead of myself. If your wife cared about you as much as she says she cared about you, I'm talking about the president's wife. She knew the stresses that being a president would put on him. She knew the stresses that he was going through. She knew the decisions that he was going to have to make. She knew the travel agenda that he was going to have to go through. She knew that when he got elected in the office, she knew that he was going to have to be able to handle all that. When he started to affect his health, do you think that affected his decision making? Do you think that the pressure was put on him helped him in move along toward Alzheimer's a little bit faster? Because everybody was tugging at him. I would say that you're part of the problem. If everybody tugging at me, I already know that something's going on, and nobody can go through it but me. And you're not sympathetic enough to say, hey, Kamala, we need to sit down and talk. Not, hey, Kamala, we need to sit down and talk. We need to protect his legacy. Legacy ain't important. The country. The red, white, and blue that you stood for. The things that you said on that stage at the when he was running for office, and you were so proud of your husband. Protect him. We didn't do it. So yeah, he's here. You think his legacy is any better? No, because he didn't tell the truth to the American public. And I don't care who. Truth. There again, truth. Truth hurts. Truth hurts. I'm going to finish this up because I think there's one more that I need you to hear.
The debate didn't make you concerned about whether or not he could do the job?
Absolutely, it did. I never saw any of that. I didn't see the tapes from her interview, and I watched that debate, and you and I talked about it. And yes, I was concerned. Now the question is this a condition or is this an incident?
It was so many incidents and conditions that had happened before then. And if you knew about it then, you knew about everything else that was out there. Don't sit there and try to play that. See, hold these people accountable. I'm glad I can stop my tape because they had already said this and it's already done. And this guy won't press him because he's trying to keep his job too. But I'm trying to tell you, they know about it. They all were complicit in what was going on. And if he thought that his friend that he cared about was in this trouble, it's a way to protect him. Go to him and say, hey, Joe, I think it's time you step down and let Kamala run it for about 2 or 3 months. And then when we get to that point, your legacy is intact. You can't help because it's a medical condition. But see, let me tell you about a big cover-up. I'm gonna go here, and a lot of people ain't gonna like what I'm about to say. So you take him from one condition to another condition, and you're trying to say that might be part of the problem. I'm gonna say y'all had some bad doctors because if he got cancer, along with the condition that he's in, and the American public did not know anything about it, that's called what? A lie, right? A bold-faced lie. Because I can't come in there and this glass said, we can't come in there and tell our mamas something that we know that we didn't do. And she ain't going to accept that. She going to find out the truth. And the way that she found out the truth, we might not like it. But I guarantee you, I never went down that path again. But you put your husband in the worst position that you allow people to put him in a position. Power is something else. Power corrupts people to a point where they don't care about the person that much. They must not, because she's showing you that she didn't care. It wasn't for the interest of the country, because if it was for the interest of the company, you had number two that was just as she was qualified. You're only asking her to step up for a few months. And it was before then that you knew that the problem was there, but you covered it up. She could have made those trips that you're complaining about right now. She could have held up. Yeah, it is progressive. But that makes it, as he said, that makes my point. You knew it was there, but you covered it up. I'm going to continue going because I know I got to get to this last one.
And I have had incidents when I was looking for my glasses and had them on. So you have these kinds of incidents, and that's the question is. And then remember, a lot of us were a bit concerned about his schedule in the run-up to the debate. He took 2 overseas trips.
People have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
I jumped it. I jumped it, but I want y'all to hear this.
And I called it at the time preparation overload because they were cramming into a 4 or 5 day period the preparation for the debate after taking 2 overseas trips, which I thought was taxing in and of itself. And so these kinds of concerns are out there, but none.
I'm gonna have to jump in here. This was the leader. This wasn't the leader. This wasn't a principal of a school. This wasn't a cafeteria manager. This wasn't a principal. This wasn't a CEO of a corporation. This guy was supposed to be in charge of the whole United States. Decisions that he made affected everybody that called himself a U.S. citizen. So 2 trips can put you in the condition that you're in. You should have never been there. You should have gave it up a long time ago. And I don't know where your legacy is right now. And for that, you can blame your wife because she could have helped you. She could have made the right decision for her husband and knew that it was that what was going on. That wasn't for the country. That was for those few people that was around him that hid him from everybody else that wanted to stay in power. Power corrupts. Power corrupts. Nobody had this man's best interest at heart. Nobody. Not one of them. And I refuse to tell you that they did, because I'll be lying and I'll be complicit too.
None of us thought that there was anything here that created any suspicions of any prolonged condition.
Prolonged condition, but you can't take 2 flights and come back and practice for. They say even during the practice for the debate, he wasn't getting anything right. Nothing. They say he was going off in La La Land telling stories. He thought he was on the election campaign again. I don't know. At this point, the finger should be pointing at everybody that allowed him to continue when they knew he was in decline. At least he should have went home. At least he should have got out of the office and let Kamala run it for that period of time. And nobody would have a problem with that. Let him progress slowly. Let his grandkids understand slowly. Let do something that helped him. We forgot about the person. A president is a president. That's an office that you're going to. He's still a human being. And if you care about human beings, you don't put him in that position. Everybody gets old. I'm getting older. Look at these gray hairs on my face. I ain't gonna continue. I ain't gonna be able to do this. But I hope somebody care enough about me. If I get on this thing not making any sense, I hope somebody cares just enough about me for me to stop me. Say, hey, you know it's time for you to sit down. I'm gonna have those responsibilities of Joe Biden. I get on here and I try to educate and I try to help you make decisions on your own. And don't sit here and tell me, because I let it slip before, but I'm gonna bring it up right now so y'all can see it. And I'm gonna come back to you. And when you can make when you get off of this air, I want you to make whatever decision that you have to make. I want you to make it whatever decision that you have to make, but know that you have a choice. And they had a choice. Anytime that you have choices that you have to make. And your choice sometimes is hard and it hurts. But sometimes the right choice is that you have to move. Sometimes the right choice, if you can't make the decision, sometimes somebody else that really, truly care about you has to make that choice for you. And I don't see nobody caring about Joe. I don't see nobody that cared enough about Joe Biden to tell him that he needs to go away. I really don't. I just don't. And I don't care how they try to sell it in the national media. It was for the interest of the country. Well, what about him? You think if he would have been prepping for a debate, he could have had his granddaughter or grandchild sitting on his lap saying, Grandpa, as he progressively got older, but now you know what they're going to have to deal with? Well, your grandfather should have got out of office. He messed up the whole Democratic Party. Don't put that blame on him. Put that blame on the people that's around you, because they didn't care enough about that man and realized that as his health was deteriorating, you were still putting that pressure on you to prefer him. And he tried. God knows he did everything that he could to show you that he was still capable, because he was trying to satisfy those selfish. Pass on and keep it clean tonight. Because he was trying to satisfy those selfish. I'm going to say it one more time. He was trying to satisfy those selfish people that were sitting there forcing me to continue. And at some point in his thing, he wasn't able to make a decision. They put him in a position where he thought he was actually doing something when he really wasn't. So yeah, he might have stepped up and said at that point, I'm running again. But you put him in that position. You put him in that position. If it wasn't even in the interest of the country when he said it, because that was another opportunity that the people that was surrounding him, his son, they're still alive, his wife, the other people that was behind him, Kamala Harris, and the rest of them that knew that he was in that condition, even Nancy Pelosi tried to tell him. They helped him, but they didn't want him. They didn't want him talking to Nancy Pelosi. They didn't want him to talk to Obama. His camp was so mad with Obama, they didn't even want to talk to him. But it seemed like they cared more about his health than his own big group of people around him, to include his wife. I'm gonna get off of that because I know when I say that, people go on their own. Oh no, she's just looking out for the country. No, she wasn't looking out for the country. Oh, hold on, I got somebody disagree with me. I love this. I love to have this. I disagree with the Spikes. We don't know what went on in a round table discussion. It's moot issues now. The conversation should now be about moving forward and not repeat. You attended the demo. You got it. They done sold you on that. I love when people come on and disagree with me. I love that. You know why? Because when people come in and disagree with me, I'll put up stuff like this. I slipped last time, but I'm not going to slip this time.
Your judgment. That is your judgment. The public. That is not the judgment of the press.
So the way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts.
When you are the first special counsel in history not to indict anybody, there is pressure to criticize and to make, statements that maybe otherwise you wouldn't make.
Flatly wrong. It is inappropriate. It is gratuitous.
So you was right on time, Stella. I just want to tell you, I still had no ammunition, but I just want to tell you that you came in right on time, because it was more. It's about more than that, Stella. It's more than that. Oh, wait a minute. Stella came back on me. You're asserting your own personal insight versus what facts are. I don't think he did anything wrong. Maybe selfish, but that's debatable. If you've been listening to anything I've been saying, Stella, now, and I didn't say it, I didn't say Joe Biden. I said the people around him. I said his wife and the party that was around him knew the condition that he was in. And they kept on coaching him, and even Obama had to help him off stage. Maybe you didn't see that. Other people was helping. They was drawing. They was taping his movements on the floor. They was taping his movements. I don't have access to the White House. This is coming out from his own people. Now you're gonna see it's coming out from his own staff. That people are saying they didn't have access. Stella, I'm trying to get to your questions, so I want to answer that one. So I like you, Stella. Keep on bringing it. Use the media when it benefits your point, but disavow when it's the opposite. I'm not disavowing anything. It's not my point. I don't own Fox News. I don't own any of those stations. I don't have nothing to do with any of them. I'm not even a producer. And there's something about a producer that was on one of those stations when George Clooney was there at that party, and the president didn't recognize him. But you know what they did? Biden's team decided to hang that on George Clooney. They was telling everybody that they've been lying. The person that they talking about that gave the facts, that was checking on him, the one that you just heard, that you heard not too long ago, that was telling you about him. I'm not the one. I'm not the one that's disavowing. I'm not the one that had personal contact. I'm sitting far away from Joe Biden. I'm sitting in my house right now making this video. The people that was around him had access to him. Tell them. Tell them. I'm going to answer your questions as they come up. We still don't know the facts. Well, Stella, I don't know all the facts. I can admit that. I wasn't there on a day-to-day basis. I didn't have a camera in my room. But here's what I do know. Those people are writing books, and they was in camp. They was in camp with them. And it wasn't just that one person. It's more books coming out. And if you go out there in the national media, it's coming out right now. I put it out 3 to 4 weeks ago that this was going on. I put it out 3 or 4 weeks ago. Stella, I'm coming back to you. I see you. I'm gonna get all yours on before I get out of here. People are selling books. They are selling. People have been selling books since the beginning of time. They've been selling books. They've been telling stories. They write them because they lived them. I sit there and I watched one of the guys come on. Him and his co-writer was on the stage on the Loney show with 2 of the people that he had said something about in the book. And what's the deal? They didn't deny it. That's their show. They didn't deny anything that was in the book. That's why I say y'all got to go out and do your research for yourself. You got to. Stella, I'm coming back to you. Do you think this is the only time the political team has not been honest? Stella, I know you didn't pay attention to the first video, but I told you, this is not the first time. This is not the first time. My first video showed you that they... You evidently got it in on the tail end, Stella, but I'm going to still go through your questions. Now, Joe is over. What's the issue? The issue is until they pull that Band-Aid off, the whole country is suffering. The whole country going to continue to suffer until somebody owns up to the truth. The whole country is going to suffer because we don't have 2 parties in America. We don't have 2 parties in America no more. They on the other side of the aisle, but they ain't acting no different than the person on the opposite side of the aisle with them. You wouldn't want to know? They're not acting any different. Stella, you keep on singing. Keep on singing them. It would appear to me that you be fact-checking Trump, but are you talking about Joe? Sir, people on the inside will say whatever they can to sell books. Surely you know that. Stella, they sell books. I agree with you. And some people lie in those books. Some people continue to tell the same lies. I'm going to tell you, let me just confess to something so I'm not lying too. I have listened to all 3 of the audio books that's out there. All of them has the same thing in common, written by different people that was within the camp that could touch Joe Biden on a daily basis. He had a problem, Stella, and we got to own up to it. The reason why we're here is because they didn't tell the American people the truth. If they would have gave Camel a chance, we wouldn't have this conversation right now. Joe Biden would have rode off into the sunset a long time ago, but his people didn't allow him to do that. And I'm still coming, Stella, because I'm not going to quit to you. It's not a need to deny. Why not? They did it. Are you now saying that they didn't do it? Hold on. Stella, I'm going to get back to you because I'm going to answer all your questions, I promise, before I get off the air. Now, I don't know what you're listening. I know you're listening to me and you're asking me all these questions. Well, I can tell you something over on PBS and every other channel, every other podcast that's out there. We're gonna get to ask questions like you're asking me right now. But it's on PBS Live right now. Right now, D telling me it's on there. They're saying basically the same thing that I am. But you're not going to get a chance to ask questions. And I'm not going to run away from questions. Me and Glad, we don't do that over here. We answer questions. I wish he would have had time to get on here tonight because he would tell you the same thing. We ain't never ran. We started out on Blog Talk Radio. It's Blog Talk USA. He has Smoking Glass House. And we never ran from the truth. But we wanted to put it out here so you could research it and find it out for yourself. I'm no different than anybody else. Come tomorrow, everybody in national media, you're going to be saying the same thing that I am today. But here's the difference about you today. You got a chance to ask me questions. Are they on up to slavery? What does that have to do about what's going on? What does that have to do about what we're talking about tonight? I'm just curious, Stella. Help me. Help me understand slavery, racism, and Jim Crow. What does it have to do about what we're talking about tonight? It don't have nothing to do with it. So I'm going to move on to your next question, Stella. I want you to keep them coming if you got them, because I ain't going to stop till you get through. It's been good. Love the show. Love the content. Love to go. Stella, it's not going to change. Tomorrow night we come on at 7:30, and the rest of the crew will be intact. And I invite you to come on and listen in. And I don't do this, Stella. You haven't heard me say go out there and subscribe, like, or do anything. You probably will never hear it, because I believe in putting the information out. We put the information out and let you make your own decision. We sometimes guide you to where the information is so you can go out there and get it. But we're not like nobody else. We do this live. I don't cut anything out. I keep it real, just like I'm talking to you. I'm not afraid to answer questions. If I don't have the answer, I'm not afraid to tell you I don't know. But we'll find out on the next show of where to go to. Stella, you're still coming. She didn't have a chance then or now. Move on. She didn't have a chance, Stella. You. Stella, let me help you a little bit. If you looked at everybody that was running for office, she had a chance. She had a chance. And I hate to say that sometimes we need to look back and know that if they would have made the right decisions at the time they seen his decline in health coming in, or even back then when he said that he was running for a second term, somebody should have tapped him on the shoulder, or his wife should have had a bedroom conversation with him and said, Joe, you know what? I love you, babe, but I don't think that you're ready for that. You got grandkids, you got other things that you need to do, and we want you to spend those moves with your grandkids. And maybe you know, I know you want to do it, but that's not in the best interest. And that's all I'm asking somebody to do. And telling me to move on right now. Trust me, it ain't gonna move on, because other media sources are picking it up. When I put it out there, nobody paid attention to it. They picking it up, just like you picked it up. And I appreciate you, Stella. Thanks for coming on. I got a few more questions I'm gonna answer from Stella, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I'm saying we don't know what happened. Stella, I don't know how to tell you this. Anytime the president is supposed to be accessible to most people, anytime that a group of people stop making the president accessible to the people that he needs to be accessible to every day, there's something wrong. Anytime that the vice president don't have access to the president, it's something wrong. I'm not saying that she didn't have access to him, but she knew what was going on when he was there. She knew what was going on. So I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing, but Stella, I'm glad that you said this last statement. And please don't make this your last time calling, your last time commenting, because if I don't do it, Glass gonna do it. If I don't do it, Pastor Regan's gonna do it. If you're gonna get an opportunity to have a voice right here, but we don't put the information on so you can understand. We're gonna put the information out for you to understand, for people not like yourself that was bold enough to make comments, but for the people that sit in the background and make their comments in the barbershops without doing their research, and they stand up there like they got their story together. I don't want you to be one of them to continue to carry that lie. I want you to be one of them to say, you know what? I heard somebody telling the truth, and it hurt me to my heart, but I had to accept it. I had to accept it, and that's what I do. I accept it. I'm coming to you. We have our eyes. We have to open our eyes. Come on now, and take the sunglasses off. I've been doing researching, reading. I'm not sitting here telling you something that you can't go out and research and read for yourself. And look at the dates. And the real reason why I can tell you that this is something that we really need to look into. Because there's a solution to this. And it's going to hurt a lot of people. But here's the solution. We need to limit the age of our president. And I have a good age, but I don't want to put it out there because I don't want nobody to say, "Oh, you just think old people." No, I'm getting older. I forget as Senator Claiborne, or I don't want to give him a title, but as Mr. Claiborne was saying, I forget where I put my keys to. I own my age. I own me. I'm getting older. But at a certain point in time, and we're noticing this more and more, we're noticing even with the next president, they can't even talk about President Trump's age. You know why? Was this mess? The Democrats don't have nowhere to go because they're not owning the situation that happened with them. They're not owning it. If you own it and you pull that Band-Aid off, you can move forward. Because when somebody comes up to you and tell you, well, you covered up Joe Biden. Well, you know, use their talking points. It was in the best interest of the country that I did it. But if you don't learn them to it, if you don't realize that there's a problem, they will continue running you down their path. And you remember your next president going to be a guy by the name of J.D. Vance. And you know what he can keep his mouth shut. Trump can't keep his mouth shut about nothing. If he knows, I don't care what he's doing, how he goes about it, he wants to run his mouth about everything that he's doing. But J.D. Vance might be able to keep that stuff a little bit quiet and hide it out a little bit more because he got a little bit more. He's a little bit younger and he thinks about it. So I'm just telling y'all, get ready, be prepared, open up your minds, open up your thought process. Most of all, do your research. Stella, I thank you. D, you know how I feel about you. D, you know how I feel about you. D been with me since we was on Blog Talk Radio. I'm just telling you. We got off of doing these for a long time. But here's what we realized, Stella, and everybody else that's out there listening. We realized that somebody has to come out and tell the truth. Somebody has to come out and try to give a direction in which this party can start moving in so we can do it now. Don't think they're across the aisle that they're not doing it. Don't think they're across the aisle that they're not doing it. Yeah, I've been a Democrat for years too. This thing is disappointing and sad. My mother, father, everybody that voted before me probably was a Democrat. And they didn't care what they did, how they did, how they went about doing it. I don't know to this day how many times I voted for Sheila Jackson Lee. And I'm just telling you I did it. It's sad. This is sad. And then you get, I'm trying to stay on this subject. I'm not going nowhere else. But I'm gonna go to Dee's last question. Then I'm gonna say something. And I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. That we all have to agree to disagree. At times we do, D. But sometimes in between those times, we still have to tell the truth. We have to share the truth. And when I said it was my opinion, I announced that it was my opinion. When I say it was my thoughts, and my thoughts only, I own my thoughts. And when I put it out there, I clarified it. I clarified it. I don't want nobody getting upset with me saying, "Oh no, you did this." Do you? If you think you're upset, what about the people that's been going along with this for this period of time? What about the people that's in these sororities and all the rest of this that's followed this mess all the way through that didn't get the truth told to them? What about? I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna have people getting on here that's not gonna make the point. But I'm still saying. Yeah, I know. It's coming out in regular media now. And that's the thing. When I was saying it, nobody wanted to get on with me. Everybody was busy. Everybody had something else to do. But now that it's done coming out in national media, and if we knew what, when, where, and all the people that's trying to cover their ass, I'm gonna say it, Pastor. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. All the people that's trying to play CYA that's coming out so they can get ready for the next election cycle. If there's anything that come up, they can be qualified to get in there. You shouldn't let none of those people do your campaign. I don't care how smart or brilliant, what kind of strategy they use, and they could have you run them to the White House. I wouldn't use none of them. Because here's the reason why I wouldn't use none of them. Here's the reason why I wouldn't use none of those people. Oh, we had, going back in history, I'm going to show you this picture. Oh, you remember that guy? You remember that guy? Talking about lies in government? You remember that guy? Just ask him. So I do it across the board. I do it across the board. I'm not running. I'm not, as a little kid said, I'm not scared. The only thing I'm asking you to do, the only thing I'm asking you to guys, this little podcast that I got here, that I'm on, is get your politicians to tell you the truth. Get your politicians just to tell you the truth. That's done in a chalkboard. So it's easy. Tell them the truth. And as you get upset over these next couple of days, as the media cycle starts circulating through these stories that I've shared on this show, the only thing you can do is shake your head, and as Stella said, it's over. But be prepared, because it's coming back during the election. It's coming up right now. They're out there talking about it. It's trending in the media right now. And I'm just a little old guy sitting out here. I don't have a whole bunch of followers, but I can read. I can decipher the truth. I can't, as Stella said, I can't, and I own it every time now I say something about this is just my personal opinion. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. With that being said, I'm going to tell you something. I enjoy this show. I enjoy bringing this show to you. I know it upsets a couple of people out there, but sometimes you got to hear the truth instead of a sugar-coated lie. And I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow night, please join in about 7:30. We'll be back on the air. We'll be back on the air. Hopefully this is not what we're talking about, but if we go there, you're going to have people with 2 or 3 other opinions on there, and they might feel the same way you do. And we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that. With that being said, I'm going to say, thank God, thank God, thank God. Because I'm going to tell you, if it wasn't for God, we'd be in a bad predicament. And that's the one saving factor in all of this. Even Trump being in office, God is still in control. Always remember that. God is still in control. It doesn't matter what's going on. Now you can go out there and watch it on the other medias and then see if you get a voice over there. And if you get a voice over there, take advantage of it. Because I'm going to give you one here tonight, next Wednesday, the week after that, and the week after that. If the Lord give me breath, I'm going to give you a voice. And as D said, I didn't say my thank God, thank God, thank God. As D saying, have a good night. Another good conversation down. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you guys.